One of the biggest takeaways from UFC 311 was that Merab Dvalishvili has the best cardio on the UFC roster. And, they were talking about it at the UFC post-game. John Anik was saying, who has the second best gas tank on the UFC roster? That's something that he would like to know, because who has the best was answered with Merab Dvalishvili on Saturday with his performance against Umar Nurmagomedov, and just how he took over in those later rounds and wore out Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, I think the answer to that question is something that, we already know. I think we just have that short of memory, with the holidays and everything, and just what we just saw on Saturday, and then we have our recency bias. But who would have the next best gas tank is Alex Pantoja. Pantoja has been in many 5-round wars. He looks better as the fight goes on. He always closes it out in the 5th round. He's a fantastic fighter, fantastic grappler. His scrambles are fantastic. His jiu-jitsu is fantastic. I think him and Charles Oliveira have the best jiu-jitsu on the UFC roster, in my opinion. They can give anyone trouble. Pantoja's just one weight class away. He has 3 title defenses in that weight class. He can move up. I think that's something that we would accept. Just the question is, would he? Pantoja really likes the flyweight division, and he has stated that he wants to stay there before, have more defenses there, but he's cleaned out the whole division. There's nothing left for him that's challenging. So Merab Dvalishvili probably prevents the greatest challenge for Pantoja in his career. It's just a matter of if he takes that fight. I don't think it's something that he's necessarily interested in, although I think if the UFC said, hey, let's make this fight, he would take it. I don't think Pantoja's scared of anyone. But Pantoja's been in a lot of 5-round wars, and I think this is a really good opportunity for him, for him to move up and become a 2-division champion. Bantamweight's a mess right now, and it's because Merab Dvalishvili has done something very similar to what Pantoja has done in his division, as he cleaned out most of those top guys. He beat Jose Aldo, he beat Henry Cejudo, he beat Peter Yan already, he's beaten Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley hasn't come back yet from that loss. He has some surgery. He's going to take the time to recover. He might not fight, close to maybe even the summer or maybe even the early fall. He might take the whole year off. We don't know when we're going to see Sean next. But you would like to see Sean get back in the win column before getting another title shot. Same for Umar. So they need to get back to the drawing board and get a win each. So what's next for Merab if he wants to defend the title 4 times this year? We talked about Peter Yan in a previous video. Peter Yan is definitely an excellent option for Merab Dvalishvili. However, this is just a great opportunity for Pantoja to step in here and say, I will fight Merab Dvalishvili. That's a really interesting fight. It's hard to think that Merab's going to lose anytime soon, particularly from anyone in the bantamweight division, because of what we just saw on Saturday and how great he looked, and just the volume and the sheer pressure that he has and the cardio. That's going to be really tough to beat. But I think Pantoja has the best cardio on the UFC roster from anyone not Merab Dvalishvili. So it's just and he gets better as the fight goes as well. Those are 2 guys who, don't necessarily finish everyone. Pantoja's definitely more of a submission threat than Merab. I think Merab probably could have stopped Umar if he really put the pressure on and was not showboating as much in that 5th round. I love Merab. He definitely could have finished that fight, I think. And I don't think he realized that he could have. Otherwise, I think he would have taken that opportunity to get that, finish win over, Umar Nurmagomedov, and they have such a personal rivalry, into heading up to this fight. So I think, Pantoja really presents an interesting question here. These guys are similar size. They're both excellent grapplers. They both have, pretty interesting striking. They both have press forward styles. I think this is a really, really interesting fight. That is a fight that I would absolutely love to see. It's high up on my wish list. I would say probably the 3 fights I would like to see most in 2025 if I could just, be the matchmaker and book these fights. Tom Aspinall, John Jones is number 1. We've been waiting too long for it. Number 2 would be Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria, and I think number 3, it's kind of maybe like 2B, 2A would be Islam and Ilia, but I think that right on its heels, I think Pantoja and Merab Dvalishvili is an awesome fight. I just think Pantoja really wants to build up that flyweight division even more, be that superstar. Maybe he gets another defense or two and then moves up. I'm not sure. He stated how much he loves the flyweight division. He's really done a lot in promoting that flyweight division. And he has said once in a previous interview that, he would be interested in fighting, the winner of Merab and Umar following his victory, but he's not too sure, but he's talked about it as a possibility. He was there cage side at that fight. So, he probably has a good idea of how he would attack a fight and strategize, leading up to a fight with Merab Dvalishvili and what he would do next. I'm not sure if something that he's interested in doing, but again, these are two guys who don't have a lot of options in their divisions. So this is kind of a more acceptable case for someone to move up and get that double champ status than say what Ilia has going on for him right now, with how good that featherweight division is and only having one title defense, and not cleaning out the division the way that Pantoja has and the way that Merab has. So them colliding would be really interesting, and I think that is a fight that the UFC should make. And I think that's something that they were kind of missing on that post-game show. They were talking about Merab moving up to challenge Ilia. That would never happen. But I think Pantoja moving up to challenge Merab presents a very interesting very interesting fight. I think that fight sells. I think that fight's really interesting. I think that'd be an excellent co-main event. I think it would be a main event that I would buy. But obviously the average consumer, they don't really watch those lower weight classes. But those are two guys who would go to war, press forward against each other. Excellent grapplers. I think Pantoja, would be comfortable, being on the ground with Merab in those grappling exchanges. I think in that 5th round, it would be just a battle of who wants it more, right? I think those are the two grittiest fighters in the UFC roster, and I think that's what makes that fight so awesome. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm thinking that's the fight I want to see the most. So I think that's a fight that the UFC should make, and I think Pantoja can really, if he wants that fight, he can get that fight. And I think he has the opportunity now to say, I would like to fight Merab Dvalishvili. I would like to become a double champion. And I think that's something that the UFC would be on board with. I think something that the fan base would be on board with, as Pantoja has earned that right to say that I want to go up and fight Merab Dvalishvili. And, but I think the thing is, Pantoja is not someone who calls a lot of guys out. He did call Demetrius Johnson out. That is the fight that I think he did want, to say that he is the greatest flyweight of all time. But, if he wants to be better than Demetrius Johnson, a way he can do that is becoming a double champion. Maybe he gets another defense or two in there. But, I think the way that he can do that is get a second belt. If he wants to be known as better than Demetrius Johnson, that's the way to do it. So if he wants to fight Merab Dvalishvili, he should do what he did with Demetrius Johnson. Say, that's the fight I want. I'm the best. I'm the best challenger for that bantamweight championship with everything I've accomplished, and I'm the guy who can beat Merab Dvalishvili. So that's the fight that I want to see, and Pantoja has the opportunity to get that fight if he wants it. Let me know if you want to see Pantoja versus Merab Dvalishvili and how that fight would play out in the comments below. Thank you for watching.